Hello, it's the quick take here on the Fulhamish YouTube channel after Fulham's 2-1 defeat to Wolves at Molineux on Saturday. And straight off the bat, I think the biggest thing to say is what a missed opportunity. What a missed opportunity for Fulham to take advantage of a depleted Wolves and really potentially set Fulham on their way to something special. Is a defeat today the end of the world in any shape or form? No. Did I expect too much from today? A difficult trip to a ground where lots of teams have lost this year? Not really. But when you consider the circumstances of today's game and the chances that Fulham blew, it's just one of those that you put down as just like the team will be kicking themselves. They'll be on the coach right now down the M40 and they'll be kicking themselves because it fell into our lap today and we just didn't take advantage. And that's not, as I said, Armageddon. It's not the worst thing that'll ever happen as a Fulham fan. It's just a bit of a shame. And you're just thinking at this point, what might have been. I mean, the first half of Fulham, we were brilliant. I thought we were outstanding. I thought it was a bold call from Marco Silva not to play Polina. I understand the kind of meritocracy that he's got, where it be, you keep your place. If you've earned it, you keep your place. I think that's all well and good, but occasionally I do think that just sometimes we should pick our best players. I remember in the game against Aston Villa where he didn't play Bassi when he was available because Ream and Diop were the incumbents, and it took us losing that game for him to go, right, Calvin Bassi, you've got your place back. Admittedly, in the first half, I thought Lukic and Reed did okay, but I felt like we missed Polina today and we could have done with him, and that extra bit of bite would have boosted the team. I don't know what to make of it. In Marco we trust and all of that. I really thought he was going to bring Polina in. But anyway, first half, we created the better chances by far. I actually thought that the game was quite even. It just fell Fulham's way in terms of those better opportunities. And we've got to be sticking one of three away. Andreas forces a very good save out of Jose Sarr. He gets played through. Andreas has really struggled in front of goal this season. I'm going to put that one down to a Jose Sarr great save rather than necessarily something that was Andreas's fault. Harry Wilson, one-on-one. That is Harry Wilson. Again, Jose Sarr is a great keeper. He comes out fast. He limits the options for Harry Wilson, but you've got to get that on target. He could have gone round him with the skill of Harry Wilson. That wouldn't have been too difficult for him. I think that was the option. He was still quite far out there, Harry Wilson. I thought Sarr was there ready to be skipped round. And that it's a gilt-edged chance. And at 1-0, I think that Fulham are really in this game. Also, then Tosin hits the bar. I think look, Tosin's not our striker, so I'm not going to be too critical, really. I think he gets a foot on it. He does everything right. A couple of inches lower. It's 1-0 to Fulham. And from that point, the game would have really looked good because, obviously, Wolves were depleted. Player after player went off. Pedro Neto went off. Wolves already had injury problems going into it. Bellegarde went off as well. Like this was such a gimme for Fulham to go and take advantage. But we're 0-0 at half time, and you just had that kind of dread that we're going to live to pay for these missed chances. And as good as the win at Old Trafford was, we've seen this before, where Fulham have a glut of chances away from home, don't take any of them. Now, fortunately, that day at Old Trafford, Man United weren't good enough to make us pay. But today, Wolves were. Their goal, it's kind of a Bassi mistake, although I actually think he's flicking it away like he always does. It just happens to fall straight at the feet of a Wolves player. It's well swept in by Ait-Nouri. And as soon as you're 1-0 down to a team like Wolves, who are brilliant on the counter, we were in trouble because we were going to have to go for the game at that point and we were going to leave ourselves open at the back. And there's not too many teams in the Premier League you'd like to do that least than against Wolves. You want to get in front against Wolves. and then sit back. They struggle to break down low blocks, but they love it if they've got space on the counter. The second goal, I think it's a Kearney own goal. It comes off his arse. I mean, it's well worked by Wolves, and they get the stroke of luck and it goes past Leno. And then actually, I think at 2-0 down, Fulham play some of their best stuff. I think we made we used our bench to our advantage, and actually we really managed to crank up the pressure on Wolves. And I thought Willian was decent. I thought Adama came on and looked dangerous. And how it remained 2-0 for as long as it did, well, I mean, they've got Jose Sarr to thank, a fantastic goalkeeper who was absolutely atop of his game today. Polina had one clawed off the line, so did Muniz. We came very, very close today to, getting ourselves back in that game. And with the 8 minutes added time, if we'd have managed to get one on 80 minutes, it would have been a really frantic finish. And sadly, when we scored our goal, it was the 98th minute and there wasn't even time to take kickoff. It was that late in the game. I mean, an assist for Armando Broja, a little bit of a milestone for him. I'm sure a little bit of confidence. I think really though, this will just be one of those where you look back at the season, and if we miss out on the top 10 by a couple of points, let's say we go on a run, but Europe is a few points ahead of us. I think today is one of those games you look back on and be like, man, we should have gone to Wolves and won today. Wolves are a very good side. This is no disrespect, but when you're that depleted and Fulham were at full strength, you've got to take advantage of those opportunities. I just think that whilst I think that this Fulham team has been brilliant in the past few weeks, we are just a little bit wasteful in front of goal. We're not clinical enough. Even in the Brighton game, the chances that we missed when we were 2-0 up to make it 3-0, that gave Brighton a door ajar to come back into the game, and we were fortunate that they didn't take their chances. I just think it seems to be one-on-one situations. We're just not being clinical and ruthless enough in front of goal. Rodrigo Muniz, I think, has been, and I thought he was good again today. It wasn't his best performance in the past few weeks, but I still think he's a right handful up front, and I think there's plenty to be positive about. I still think that this team is looking good. I think that for the next few games, you've got to start playing your best players again. I don't mind the Reed Lukic pivot. I think it worked in Polinia's absence, but let's just play João Polina. Let's just play our best players and give ourselves the best chance to win football matches. I respect what Marco's doing there, and it must be so rewarding for those players to know that actually this is not just a system where actually you lose your place because the best player comes back and is fit and that you can earn your spot in this side. But almost those principles sometimes do cost Fulham. But look, they must have massive upsides as well for the squad harmony. That's why the players love Silva so much, because he's a man of principles and he sticks to them. And I guess we've kind of got to realise, and respect that, but at the same time, it can be frustrating. Thank you to NordVPN for sponsoring this episode of the Fulhamish Quick Take. NordVPN is the easiest way to watch football matches and TV shows which aren't available in your region. You can also use it to protect your identity online, and you can benefit from things like cheaper flights by switching your virtual location. I use NordVPN all the time to watch ESPN Plus, which is a subscription I have that's only available in America. If I want to watch anything that's on there, I just switch my location to the USA. Hey presto, I can watch it. No fuss, really, really easy. And you can use up one account on up to 6 devices. So my dad sometimes logs in and uses my NordVPN subscription, and that's absolutely okay. And you can get a great deal on NordVPN right now by going to nordvpn.com/Fulhamish. You get 4 free months. Plus, if you're in the UK, USA, Canada, or Australia, you'll get a free Uber Eats voucher when you sign up using that link. So to benefit from that great rate, plus 4 free months, plus the Uber Eats voucher if you're in any of those locations, go to nordvpn.com/Fulhamish. And speaking of João, I think a lot of Wolves fans thought that he should have got a red card. He did come off the bench, and you could tell that he'd been away for a couple of games. He was absolutely determined to get stuck in, wasn't he? I must admit, the challenge where he doesn't get the second yellow, I think, is a yellow. But the first one where he does get a yellow card, he wins the flipping ball. So for me, the right decision has been made, but not via the right methods, if you see what I mean. I don't think the first yellow card he gets is a yellow, but the one where he could have got the red possibly was a yellow. He looked very fired up, and there's no doubt that he brought something to Fulham when he came on. His energy, coupled that with Adama's energy and kind of Willian's brilliance on the wing. We've got a lot of good options off the bench. So I think this is one where the Fulham team will dust themselves down. They'll be disappointed, but they've got a week to look forward to another big game at the Cottage against Spurs, where it's going to be really difficult. Spurs are a fantastic team, but I also do think that Fulham can beat pretty much anyone bar probably Manchester City and Liverpool at the Cottage. And I back us to give everyone that comes down to our gaff a game. So hopefully we can get back to winning ways against Spurs. A real kind of, as I said, I think the key word is missed opportunity today to break into the top 10. It would have been a real deserved achievement, I think, for the team to break into the top half. We still can do it, but we've given ourselves a lot to do now for the rest of the season. There's 10 games left, and we're going to have to win an awful lot of them if we are to get into the top 10, which I imagine is Marco's aim, not to get into Europe, although we'd all take it if that was the case. But I think we'd have to win the majority of the remaining 10 games to achieve Europe now. But I still believe that top half is the realistic and the best aim for this side, and it would still be one heck of a season if we're able to do that. Let us know what you thought of the game down in the comments. Great to hear from you as ever, and we'll see you on the next quick take, and the podcast will be out later this weekend. Come on, you Whites.